Good afternoon, all of you. And today, on behalf of all of you, and on behalf of IGNO, on behalf of Professor Martin, let me extend a warm and cordial welcome to this today's speaker, Dr. P.M. Noyer, whose CV extends to 25 pages. I don't want to read the entire CV, but he is one of the outstanding and renowned person on the subject anti-human trafficking in India. In fact, my earlier inauguration speech I would referred about him. With this assistance and cooperation only, we have launched a certificate course on anti-human trafficking, which was launched by the Honorable Union Home Minister of India on 10th December. Now, he is the one who was behind the preparing the entire course material and all. And as he worked in almost in all fields and departments of the criminal justice delivery system. He is joined as an IPS officer in the Government of India Service since 1978. Then thereafter he worked as the district superintendent of police in several districts. Thereafter he moved into the various capacities. Well, say like the Central Bureau of Investigation, the department in which he worked out. Central Bureau of Investigation as a superintendent of police, then anti-corruption branch of CBI, special crime branch of CBI, deputy director general of police in Central Bureau of Investigation, and whatnot. In addition to this, the special feature of Dr. Nair is he worked with the UNODC, and before that he worked with the National Human Rights Commission on this project on the anti-human trafficking. Then based on his expertise and experience, under the government of the Ministry of Home Affairs also came into, and based on this collaboration we launched the program on this subject. And he has written several books on this anti-human trafficking that I don't name. And he has also received several awards for his meritorious service. And he has also done a PhD in law, particularly on this police. Just that may be of interest to all of us. His PhD topic on police response to child victims of the rape. This is his PhD topic. Based on that, he is the senior police officer, and he is very. You can hear him. I think I do not find any better person than him to speak on this subject as far as India is concerned. And for your kind information, sir, Professor Martin here is the. Okay, sorry. Then with this introduction, let me request Professor Noyer to kindly continue the session. Yeah.
It's working? Or?
No, it's working. Let's check up. Oh. Just one second.
ये काम करता है? If you do not follow me, raise your hand and say go slow. Which happens with most of us in India. What's your language?
The last name is Vietnamese.
No, language. Which language do you speak?
English.
Oh, you speak English. No, I thought you were a different language. What about you?
English also.
Mother tongue? English?
Yes, English and Korean. And some Japanese.
Japanese. Okay. English you have 26 letters. But in my language, that's Malayalam, we have 53 letters. So the time you give to yourself for 26, I need to cover 53. Of course, that's in the light vein. Is it still not working?
Sir, I think it's not properly connected.
So I understand you are all from different universities in India and abroad, pursuing law.
Yes.
Good. As was told to me, I'm a career police officer. IPS stands for Indian Police Service. I'm with the Indian Police Service for the last, can you guess how many years? 30. 30. Oh, excellent. 33 years. And the issue of human trafficking, which was in which we have been asked to discuss a few issues. this is also a part of the business of policing, which has started. It's continued for some time. Now, how many of you have got any exposure or any exposure in working with issues of human trafficking? Nobody? You have. There you are. Okay. How many of you have an opportunity to know the law of human trafficking, laws of human trafficking? Okay. And how many of you would be interested in knowing human trafficking? Okay, I'm not in a bad crowd. Good. Now, having said that, I'll since you're basically law students, I'll give a little bit of Indian laws. Of course, there was a lot of also introduced by saying we have done a lot of work. First, we tried to understand the National Human Rights Commission. I worked with the National Human. I think you went there today. Yesterday, Human Rights Commission, to know what human trafficking is. We did a research, and I happen to be the principal. You are in difficulty in seeing the board? All right. Try to find out what's human trafficking, and we brought out a research report which is published. And it's a small book. I don't know if you've seen this small book. This one. Yes, it's a small book on trafficking women and children in India. It's published in 2005 by Oriel Longman. It's a research report publication. The first time a critical research on human trafficking has been done. Now, after doing the research, what do? You come out with some suggestions, conclusions, recommendations. And most of the recommendations were to be implemented by the government of India and the government of the states in India. In the Indian systems, some of you are, I understand, from India or Indian universities. Indian systems, if you know, for the benefit of others, government of India is independent of the government in the states. So implementation to be done by government of India, implementation to be done by state governments, then implementation to be done by the Human Rights Commissions, National Human Rights Commission, implementation to be done by other stakeholders like this university, dissemination. So this report brought out the dimensions, the challenges, the responses, the issues, etc., and forwarded the agencies to get on to implementation. It's not a coffee table book, it's a book meant for some purpose. Now, the government of India decided to join hands with the UNODC, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, and started a project on anti-human trafficking. It was fully supported by US government. It was a tripartite agreement of the government of India, the US government, and UNODC. It's a 2-year project on anti-human trafficking. It's called capacity building of the law enforcement agencies. And I was fortunate to work in this project as a project coordinator for the UNODC. We did majorly 4 things, four aspects of work. First one, to implement one of the major findings of this research, which said only 6.6% of the law enforcement officials in India have an exposure to human trafficking. They enforce the law, but 6%, keep it 7%, had exposure, and 93% had no idea or clue as to what it is about. So we thought this large gap of law enforcement agencies we need to be addressed. So major aspect in the UN project, UNODC project, was trying to train law enforcement officials, means police, prosecutors, judicial officers, magistrates, care service providers, and NGOs. You may ask why NGOs? You may ask why NGOs? What could be the reason, Ms. Nishi Singh? Why NGOs?
Because they work for the
public. So they should be paying.
They work with the public. All right. Okay. Any other guess, Miss Ian? Excuse me. Yes. Yes, please. Yes.
Because NGOs are instrumental in India. Because other than the NHRC, there are other non-governmental organizations. They work more with the people. I think
They work with more the people.
more like they're more in number.
Okay.
I think because they are more touchable, as he said, with the people,
Okay.
They're closer to person.
and they have many projects. Okay, they can actually fill the gaps of the governments
Okay.
to help the people.
Absolutely correct. Yes, sir.
It's also important to have a coordinated response from government officials, prosecutors, everyone down to the NGOs, so they're all working under the same model, and hopefully they have integration in their approach.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Any other guess you can? Yes.
Could it be that sometimes some people have an inherent distrust of the actual government and its agencies?
Mhm.
They would feel more comfortable in dealing with an NGO?
You are right. Ombudsman, accountability part. Very good point. You have come from various parts of the world. Does the NGO have a legal right, a legal authority to enforce the law anywhere?
No, just make recommendations to the governments to what you can say to stick which kind of the lack of what you can say the support or the sources to help with the people.
Okay. But surprisingly, the Indian law, what I have copy of the law, the Indian law, which is called the law dealing with the trafficking in sexual exploitation. Sorry, I don't have the copy of the law. It's a thin book, 10 pages. It's called ITPA, Immoral Traffic Prevention Act. Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, ITPA. That law provides legal powers to NGOs. Since you are law students, you may be astonished to find a law addressing human trafficking which gives powers to an NGO. This is probably unique in the world. Now, how I came to know it's unique because I had an opportunity, as I mentioned, working with the United Nations. We had brought out a recent book, Anti-Human Trafficking Manual for Criminal Justice Practitioners. This is a UN document, UNODC New York. It's available on the website, 14 chapters. Of course, this is a printed edition, 14 chapters. It has been drafted by 70, they call experts across the world, and I happen to be privileged to be part of that group. Most of them were judicial officers or attorneys or somebody from the International Court of Justice. One lady judge was there. So that's the level of people who drafted this. And this is a training manual for criminal justice practitioners, which includes police officers, prosecutors, magistrates, judges, NGOs. When this was being drafted, we were discussing about the role of various agencies. I was speaking about the role of NGOs. I was surprised to find across the world, nowhere in the world, NGOs have any legal powers. Here we have. I'll touch upon a few of the powers and legal NGOs in my as it goes.
And in fact, in the material supplied to Professor Maruf, a part of the literature written by Professor Nair, Dr. Nair is already available in the packet. Kindly you can look into that. You can read the material also.
So you have a packet with you? Is it there? Not here. All
Morning
right.
it was circulated.
All right. Okay. I hope you are with me. I'm clear? Huh? Okay. Okay. If anybody has not able to not understand, please raise your hand. You know, I'm a graduate of FBI National Academy, Quantico, Washington, Virginia. So I was asked to take a session there on a very interesting crime of airdropping of weapons, which I did. And the presentation, they selected 5 persons to give the presentation about the 270 audience. I started off my presentation, and after 5 minutes, I asked them, "Are you with me?" Each one said no. Everybody said no. Then I said, why? Then somebody said, "Mr. Nair, could you speak slow?" I realized what we do. We tend to go on and on with. So therefore, if you're not with me, please stop me. Now, this is this part of the major aspects of the program of UN was to empower the police officers and judges and law enforcement officials, and we trained something around 20,000 law enforcement officials. It's not just taking a class like this. It's a 3-day session minimum. Each one has to go a rigorous training portion involving oneself. It's a real empowerment process. At the end of the class, you can see the people getting charged, committed, and go with a mission. I have videographs in my computer of senior police officers shedding tears saying, "I feel ashamed. I have been police officer for the last 28 years, and all these years I have been violating women's rights. I have been violating women's rights. I never knew the trafficked person is a victim. I thought she is a prostitute. I've been prosecuting her, I've been convicting her, I've been jailing her, I've been victimizing her, I've been harassing her. Today, I realize that the trafficked person is a victim and she needs support. She is not to be victimized." It's a major paradigm shift which we could bring in. The results, the impact was tremendous. Impact was tremendous. So one part is enforcement training, capacity building. Sorry. Second part is to bring out quality tools, knowledge products. We need to have a manual for training police officers, a manual for training prosecutors, a manual for investigating sex trafficking crimes, step by step, a manual for investigating trafficking of labor. It's quite different. Trafficking for exploitative labor. We need a manual for training counselors. If I'm a victim of trafficking and I go to Miss Sonal Mittal, who is a police officer with 33 years experience, she may think she has got 33 years behind her, and she will talk to the person as if you're talking to somebody else, a criminal or maybe another persons. The way you communicate with a person, it makes a difference. In fact, it's a validation. Validation of the fact that the person is a victim, she has been victimized, somebody else is responsible and not she. The validation part. To take an example, I walk into the market with my child, a 5-year-old child, and she's running out. She stumbles down on a stone, she falls down, and she cries. What will you do, Shruti?
You will just make her understand it. It was your.
How do you respond?
It was your mistake.
Okay. And then, what would be your natural response like? 1, 2, 3. 5-year-old child, she's walking around, stumbles down. She's not injured, but still she's creeping. What do you do?
We'll get chocolate for her.
Yes. Then, what do you tell her?
It's okay, you
It's
can
okay,
go ahead,
go for it.
you will get other such stumbles in life, and that's the way you have to get up again and start moving further.
That's the purpose of
Okay. Something else? Yes.
We say
First
it
you
in
comfort
a
the
different
child.
way.
First, you comfort the child. Yes. How do you comfort the child? What do you say? What do you say?
It's going to be okay.
Then we have a are small, when we fall down, our parents said, "Arey, zameen ko lagi, stop crying."
Yes, she said in Hindi, let me tell you what she says. She says, you have the stone there is the one who created this problem, not you. And what we do is ganda pathar. We push our leg down saying, oh, dirty stone. Dirty stone. You're trying to punish the stone to tell the child that there is an offender, you are a victim. Don't worry. It's not your fault, somebody else's fault. You're trying to validate the fact that she is not a offender, she is not a conspirator, she is not an accomplice. This is what happens in human trafficking. When the woman comes to a police station, or NGOs bring the rescued woman to a police station, woman could be a male also, I'm not saying male, I'm saying, for example, a woman. What a policeman should do is, come, please come, relax, maybe a cup of tea, maybe a glass of water. Don't worry, I'll take care. That don't worry, I'll take care conveys so much. If you want to say a little more, don't worry, there are many victims like you. So she gets a message that I'm a victim. She gets a message that I'm not a loner. She gets a message that this man has got experience of handling people like this. Don't worry, there are many victims like you. And this is a message of validation. So therefore we need a manual for criminal justice, for counseling. We try to bring out a few of them. Let me show one by one. A standard operating procedure for investigation of sex crimes. The Hindi version. Then operating procedure for investigating labor crimes. Forced labor. Manual for training prosecutors. A manual for psychosocial intervention, training counselors. Manual for training police, I did say that. Then a protocol on interstate transfer of victims is something very unique to India. We have different states, different police, Mumbai police, Chennai police, Delhi police. So they have their jurisdiction. So if Mumbai police rescues a girl from Chennai or from Mumbai, from Delhi, what's the role of this police and that police? What's the role of NGO here and there? So we try to bring into a compendium. This is a protocol for interstate transfer. Very important. We have a resource book on law, legal framework. We have a compendium of best practices by the law enforcement officials. A general remark that police is hopeless, that police has done nothing, was found to be untrue. The research shows that 6.6% were trained, but those trained and not trained also did good job, commendable job. While on the one side we need to fine tune their mistakes, on the other side we need to pat the guys who are doing a good job, reward them. A compendium of the best practices. You may ask why it is best practice. You know why it is best practice, not a good practice? One guess? Best is better than good. Yes, according to them.
It's an ideal practice, or if we could have a sort of a perfect world where everyone is working together, this is
Absolutely.
the way to do it.
The man in the field, the police officer in the ground, for him this is the best. So I am quoting him. There could be better things, better and best, fair enough. But for him this is the best. He's done his best job. And there is a compendium of best practice by the NGOs. and corporates. We have a compendium of a good job by the NGOs and corporates. So I showed you all these manuals, a few of them. Well, this is also interesting. It's a small handbook for setting up anti-human trafficking units. We realize in this research that another major lacuna in the response system is that police has some role, prosecutor has some role, judiciary has some role, the labor department has some role, the welfare department has some role, the child rights commission has some role. I think you have gone to Delhi Child Rights Commission. They have some role. The women's commission has some role. But all these roles are almost like they are independent. So we need to bring them together and get the best out of them. That's synergy. So we have brought out a protocol for setting up anti-human trafficking units as synergy in action. We in fact, as a third part of the project, first I said training, empowerment, second is all these books and protocols, and third part of the project was we set up 9 anti-human trafficking units in the country. 9 anti-human trafficking units in the country. And the fourth job in the project was to synergize the law enforcement agencies with the NGOs. The Indian legal system provided a specific role for the NGOs. Therefore, the NGOs have to be brought on board. It cannot be something ad hoc. Oh, Mr. Harjit likes an NGO PM Nair. Mr. Nair, come along. Tomorrow, Mr. Harjit doesn't like him. You get lost. It can't be like that. It should be institutionalized. There should be a method of identifying an NGO, a method of screening an NGO, giving responsibility to an NGO and accountability to an NGO, giving support to the NGO. So all this have to be institutionalized. Therefore, we brought out these anti-human trafficking units, 9 of them. Now, second phase. First phase is research. Second phase is implementation in 2 years' time. And third part was evaluation. The UN decided to go for international evaluation. A retired Foreign Service official of US government, Miss Laura Livingston, and a retired Secretary to Government of India in the Administrative Service, Miss Sarala. Two of the ladies got together and went for a field evaluation. They got their report, and after evaluation they found this project has done exceedingly well, far beyond the expectations, and they advised the government to replicate this further. Today, the government is replicating all this. 9 AHTU, anti-human trafficking units, 9 of them, excuse me, what a bad throat, 9 of them set up by us in the project is now being replicated into 300 plus. 300 plus anti-human trafficking units are being set up across the country. We have trained around 20,000 law enforcement officials. Now they are organizing training of trainers in 5 regions of the country and going beyond. And third part is, what do you do with all these tools? You have invested so much. There comes Professor Edimalai and the Vice Chancellor Dr. Pillai here. He said, we have a university which is open. We can do something together. So we shook hands and have developed a certificate course on anti-human trafficking. The certificate course run by IGNU is perhaps the first in the world after Thailand. I have seen a course on anti-human trafficking in Thailand, and perhaps this is second in the world. Open to anybody across the world. You may also like to register yourself as a student. It will be interesting.
There is a provision for registration for the international participants also.
Well, that's what he mentioned about the launch of this program last 10 days back by the Home Minister. So this is what the ground level situation is. Now, coming to the issues of human trafficking. Second part of the story. Third part I'll do with the law. Second part of the story is about the issues, dimensions of human trafficking. Well, when you speak about human trafficking, a broad classification of human trafficking. How do you classify? Possible? Any guess? Yes?
You're asking what types of human trafficking?
Yes. Sani.
That question, sir.
Okay.
Could you repeat?
Yeah. How do you classify human trafficking? Or what are the types of human trafficking? Types of human trafficking.
Very,
Like for what purpose they
Yeah,
are
yeah.
trafficked?
Yes.
we can categorize to them that trafficking for using them in purposes of prostitution and
Okay.
sex services. Number 2 for the domestic services.
Mhm.
Number 3 for I think agriculture also.
Construction purpose.
Constructions purposes.
Okay. Any other type of classification you think of? Any other?
Hospitality industry.
Second?
Hospitality.
Hospitality. Okay.
Restaurants and
Hotel.
Okay. So basically, what we can think of trafficking for commercial sexual exploitation, trafficking for exploitative labor, and trafficking for other forms. It's a very vast term, other forms. The third one. Now, you forgot about the other part. Now, coming to the trafficking for exploitative labor. You did mention it could be domestic labor, it could be industrial labor, it could be entertainment. Have you heard of entertainment? Trafficking for entertainment? No? Circus. Circus. Yes. You know, you have a small children required to go up the ladder or jump from one place to another place. Then you have a camel racing.
yeah, it is happening in Gulf area, especially in Qatar and Oman.
Camel racing.
Yeah,
Anybody from that side? No.
I'm sitting in
There. Camel racing. Camel requires a human being on top. Miss Tanya would not like to go. PM Nair would not like to go because the camel has a bumpy ride. It's not at all comfortable. You need a person there. So we put a child, tie the child, and the camel moves, the child cries. The child cries, the camel gets excited, it moves, runs faster. The child cries more. At the end of the camel racing, the child would have lost all the muscles here or the skin there, injured, maybe falling down maimed, all sort of things. It's a serious problem. It's not one person, it's so many of them. Camel racing. Trafficking for organ transplant. Have you heard of that? There's a lot of requirement of organs like kidneys. Lot of requirement. It's a very important issue, just upcoming. We have many crimes like this in India, where the people have been taken to hospital saying that, oh, you are suffering from fever and something, come along, get you inside, take out your kidney and say, okay, get back, your fever is gone. So that's trafficking. Illegal adoption. False marriage. False marriage. It may not be there everywhere, but it's there in certain places. Begging. You may feel sorry for the child on the street asking for something, and you may tend to give a $1 or 1 rupee or something to the child. But mind you, it's to the child who gets the money. By 10 o'clock night, you can find a vehicle coming there, picking up these boys and putting it into the vehicle, and the money is taken by that guy. They take the children, break their bones, put something bandage here, and make the child appear before you. There are many cases. Again, trafficking for begging.
Excuse me. So, can you please throw some light on this phrase, mail order bride? I don't
Yes.
understand.
Yeah, it's false marriage. Like I sent a mail that I'm 25 years old, looking for a bride of this and this and that, and the mail goes to, it's published in Hyderabad in India, and the people who want to get their daughters married, they said, okay, here is a girl, and I fix up everything through mail. I don't see the person. I come for the marriage. When I come for the marriage, my head is all covered. I may be 63 or maybe 65, but I have announced myself to be 25. Get the girl married, take the girl away, and that's it. And she comes back after 3 years with 3 children. Not knowing what to do. Trafficking for commercial sexual exploitation. This is a major crime, major issue across the world. It could be, traditionally it was brothels based. It could be non-brothel based. Okay? Sex tourism, the different dimensions. Sex tourism. You understand what it means? You don't understand? You don't? Sexual favors being given for facilitating tourism. You announce so and so hotel in some place. We provide M/F, male/female, H/H, H/H, home/hotel, services. All ages. What does it all mean? What does it all mean? So we have sex tourism. Many places across the globe, this is a major issue, trafficking for facilitating sex. The massage parlors, the facade of massage parlors or beauty parlors or beer bars, trafficking for pornography. So these are a few of the dimensions of human trafficking for sexual exploitation. Anything new in your country, in your place? Anything beyond this? Any other dimension you can think of? Are you aware of, Mr. Harshad? Not you're aware of? Okay.
About these places.
Yeah, no, any other dimension, type of trafficking other than this. Let's say put the dots there, something more.
There is that using also that sexual activities on the children, like that they use that for prostitutions on the emails or something like that. It started to be appealed also, but I don't know how could I describe that. But it started, and I don't know, is it could be considered as
Yeah, it is.
trafficking or not?
It is. How about child soldiers? Militancy, extremism. We have a problem of Naxalites. Have you ever heard of Naxalites? Left-wing extremism in our country, in many places. Presently, my job takes me to address that issue. We have seen confrontation where we have Naxalites of 200 numbers with weapons. It's a war situation. And who are they? 50%, if not more, are women. Among them, 90% are girls of the age 14, 15, 16, 17. Under the International Convention, any person under 18 is a child.
is a child. A person who has not attained the age of 18 under the Indian law is a child. Universal. Under the Transnational Convention, Child Rights Convention, CRC, anybody below 18 is a child. So here you have child Naxals. Do you call them child Naxals or are they trafficked victims? Because they have not come there on their own. I am a Naxal leader. I go to the house, tell the mother, give me a boy or a girl. I don't care the age. I want 17, 15, 12, fair enough. Out of fear, compulsion, deception, coercion, she gives a child to me. I take the child as a Naxal. And what do? I train the person to use weapons and killing others. And I also exploit the child sexually. That's also part of their business. So this is human trafficking. Is it not? Trafficking for militancy. Anything else you can think of? Mr. Ananta Padmanabhan, you can think of anything else? No?